Let me please also acknowledge the BEC of ANC Ward 90 that is here, the branch members of Ward 90 that is here, and it would be a travesty for me to acknowledge the branch of Ward 90 without acknowledging Comrade Joy Copeland, whom we refer to as the firstborn of Ward 90. Comrade Ngaba Ngandela, who is the former chairperson of Ward 87 and 88. At that time, it used to be one branch, 87 and 88, but today they have been separated to demarcation. I would also like to acknowledge the Zonal Deputy Secretary and also the Zonal Mobilizer, Comrade Joseph Mlange. So I would like to please acknowledge Comrade Khoso Khasu, that's our father right there. Also amongst us, we've got an alliance, we've got the SAMU Young Workers, and we've got a representative who is Comrade Kahisho Sekwebedu, who will give a message of support from SAMU Young Workers. All the geographical location that we have, mostly our members and most of our constituency above the domestic workers are also young professionals. So it is important that he gives this message of support and encourage the young professionals that live in the ward to participate in the organization, to be members of the ANC, because we do need young workers, we do need professionals, and we do need the black middle class for them to be part of the ANC, and also for us to actually acknowledge them, and also for us to include them in all our programs so that they feel that they are part of the ANC.
Young people have to work, and young people are not working. We want young people to work. I think yourselves, comrades, the tactical response you need to visit region, be there. And the conversation, it's an honest conversation, comrades. We love each other, but let's be honest with each other. We want young people to be employed in that EPW. We want young people in camp. We want young people that we can identify to say these ones belong to this ward in Ward 90 and they have found employment. If you can't do that, comrades, then we are not together.
Our veterans are supporting us as the Women's League, we still give our candidate our full support. No matter what, is it dark or bright, is it raining, a storm, we are going to stand next to you. Whatever the opposition are doing or up to, we will support you.
There was 35 years ago a very important event that occurred, and that was the release of Nelson Mandela. And that was the beginning of the transition of this country, taking us from a country at war with itself, citizens against citizens, to a country that is now a democratic, non-racial, non-sexist society. And that is what that man stood for, and that is what we stand for today. The thing about this comrade is, when we have dirty work, tough work, he's there. He doesn't run away when it's an uncomfortable day, when it's wet, when it's hot, when there's no reward for what you're doing. He's there on the ground ready to work. That's why we believe he will make a good councillor, because whether he is going to be greeted with an open arm when he knocks on your door or told, "Futsai," he'll still come. And he'll still come and talk to you, and he will still be willing to represent you, and he will still be willing to work for you.
From some young workers, we just want to say that it's a pledge that we are going to support you until the 26th on the election day, and we are going to mobilize each and every young worker, young professional who resides within the borders of this ward. Of this ward in particular, to come and cast their vote, and also to mobilize other young workers from various regions across Johannesburg, and also comrades from different zones to come and assist visibility campaigns. We are pledged, that is our pledge to you, Comrade Councillor Candidate, Comrade Siwisa. We are going to be with you from today.
I greet the President of the Republic of South Africa and the President of the ANC, President Cyril Ramaphosa. I greet the Secretary General of the ANC, Comrade Fikile Mbalula, in the top 7. I greet the Chairperson of the Babafunde branch in Ward 90, Comrade Tlhatlhogo Mnyeketsi. I greet the Secretary, Comrade Oscar Kanyane, and I greet Woka Makabana Kona, including the ones from Ward 13. Comrades, my name is Sihla Agulesimis. I am a member in good standing of the Babafunde branch, which was previously known as Kwito Kanovan. A lot of you will know the story of that battle. I am a deputy chairperson of the branch who serves in the executive. I'm addressing you today to confirm that I have accepted nomination to contest the by-election for the councillor position in Ward 90. This was made possible because of the demise of the previous councillor, Martin Williams. May his soul rest in peace. My mentor once said that whenever a country is in trouble, they begin to look for heroes. For the record, I am no hero. I'm just a father to a 4-year-old who is not prepared to give up on his future. In 2019, I wrote a book titled Make All Voices Count, where I conducted a study to understand the factors that affect voter registration and turnout in the national and provincial elections amongst the ages of 18 to 29, which is young people, and I compared the 1999 figures to the 2019 figures. My findings were that it would appear that young people are disappointed with the current state of affairs in our country. The miracle of 1994 has slowly degenerated into a reality that is characterized by corruption, state capture, and non-delivery of services. Young people seem to recognize this as a failure of leadership. They perceive good governance as uprightness of character and conduct that reflects the collective values of our common society. Furthermore, young people across the political spectrum seem to hold a dim view of outright majorities in an election because outright majorities lead to complacency of the ruling party. Young people are less beholden onto political parties based on what they delivered before and are rather more interested on what they are going to do next to create a new reality in the present and in the future. At a glance, the critical issues for young people, as confirmed by Comrade Oscar Kanyane, appear to be unemployment, job creation, free or funded education, corruption, and state capture. At the book launch of Make All Voices Count on the 24th of July 2019, I said that the declining numbers in the recent national and provincial elections reflect the extent to which we have strayed from who we were before. The cult of personality, the celebration of mediocrity, and the capture of the state as evidenced by the Zondo Commission have conspired to undermine our ability as a nation to believe in the credibility of those who rule over us. So the first challenge that South Africa faces is restoring the confidence of the electorate in elected leadership. This, I would argue, is even more important than winning the confidence of investors. Because if citizens of a country have no confidence in the elected authority, they are less inclined to invest their hard-earned savings domestically and will constantly look abroad for better prospects. Secondly, the challenge that South Africa faces is restoring the confidence in the justice system and the rule of law. If there appears to be a separate set of laws that applies to the wealthy and the political elite, which is different to that which is meted out to members of the ordinary public, then it would mean that our justice system is not just. Furthermore, we need to raise the standard of 3 key role players in society: the role of a teacher, the role of a police officer, and the role of a nurse. Teachers are the primary gatekeepers of our children's dreams and aspirations. Before the institution of Bantu education in South Africa, there were mission schools that provided quality education to a generation of black children who grew up to become leaders in the struggle for our liberation. An example of such an institution is Hilltown Comprehensive School, which is a school that was established by Methodist missionaries near Fort Beaufort in the Eastern Cape in 1855. Amongst their esteemed alumni, one can mention Nelson Mandela and Robert Soul. With the introduction of Bantu education, the teaching profession lost some of its most capable servants, and the role of a teacher in society lost its place on the high pedestal it was on. With regards to police officers, our society is overrun by criminal networks that introduce drugs, human trafficking, counterfeit goods, and illicit flows of capital, plus women and child abuse. We need to strengthen the forensic and investigative capacity of the state, in the process raise awareness for the caliber of police officers we have patrolling our streets. With respect to the nursing profession, the quality of care that ordinary citizens have access to in clinics and public hospitals needs to be at a standard where ordinary people are able to access not just primary health care and community health, but access to specialized services as well. I deliberately chose these 3 professions because ultimately, education, healthcare, and the police service are 3 of the biggest items on our national budget. So it makes sense to focus on education because it has capacity to transform the destiny of families and nations. In The Wealth and Poverty of Nations, the author David Landis writes about the need for a new global partnership that prioritizes creating jobs, reducing inequality, and eradicating poverty in a manner that transforms global economies through deliberate programs of sustainable development and impact investment. It is this need that inspired me to stand as a candidate. At a macroeconomic level, we are faced with 3 challenges in South Africa: poverty, inequality, and unemployment. These challenges exist not only because of historical imbalances in wealth alone, but also because our economy is not growing at a rate that is fast enough to create jobs. At a microeconomic level, households need local government to refurbish infrastructure in order to secure a stable supply of electricity and water in our neighborhoods. Over and above that, we need refuse collection to be consistent and the fixing of potholes, broken traffic lights, and displaced traffic signs to be timely. An overarching challenge that poses a threat to us both nationally and locally is safety and security. Now, in parts of Johannesburg, residents associations and neighborhood watch structures are already using basic drone patrol as an early warning tool, not to spy on people, but to identify threats before they escalate. I want the same coordination here in our ward for community safety. and to protect people's dignity. So the problems that we face are real, but they are not insurmountable. We are in a position where we can rewrite our history and correct our mistakes. I am of the belief that Africa's place in history is being rewritten by millions of enterprising young people who understand that attaining freedom from colonialism and segregated development was but the first step in the continental revolutionary agenda that inspired iconic leaders such as Joshua Nkomo, Oliver Tambo, Seretse Khama, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, Thomas Sankara, and Mwalimu wa Taifa Julius Nyerere. These are the leaders whose understanding of the need to recognize women as the powerhouses and pillars of our communities led them to champion the cause of equality of races and genders, as is enshrined in the Freedom Charter that was signed at the Assembly of the Congress of the People in Cape Town in South Africa on the 26th of June 1955. I am inspired by the contribution of selfless leaders of our struggle, such as Mama Adelaide Tambo, Mama Winnie Mandela, Mama Graça Machel, Mama Sharon Makete, Mama Ruth First, Fatima Mir, and our own elder, Mama Sophie de Bruyne. Mr. President, we need heroes. We need a collective that is willing to risk life and limb to make a critical contribution to restoring thought leadership that informs selfless activism in pursuit of social change. Like I said, the challenges we face are complex, but they are not insurmountable. Our electorate has sought refuge by splitting their votes in the hope that no political party can have too much power to undermine the will of the people. Even as a member of the BEC of the ANC, I too was faced with the same dilemma. But I am persuaded that the ANC remains a viable vehicle to drive social change. For that to happen, that change needs to happen within, starting with punctuality and escalating to adherence to systems, processes, standards, and values that elevate our broader society. So I'm not asking you to vote for nostalgia. I'm asking you to vote for a vision of a radically different future. I believe that what is critical in this late hour of our history is the realization that the people need to be reminded that they themselves are the heroes of our struggle. We the people are our own custodians of hope, and today I'm asking you, as I had to persuade myself, to once again place that hope in the ANC. There are geopolitical forces at play that seek to amplify and exploit our differences in an effort to undermine the sovereignty of our republic. One of these is the rise of radical extremism, both on the left and on the right. We need to take up our cause to restore Africa's place as an equal at the bargaining tables of the world. We need to elect to use our position in the world to bring about what Steve Biko said is a more humane society. The path to our collective dream of a more just society cannot end with imagination alone. We have to labor to bring the beauty of our dreams to life. I am persuaded that we can do this collectively by each making an individual decision to be fully engaged citizens of the world, by using our vote to transform society. Voting is but one of the ways in which we can make sure that our voices count. We therefore need to make a pledge to change our continent one village at a time, and not just to create wealth for the few, but to enrich souls by opening desired career pathways and finance dreams that accrue financial as well as social benefits. To do this, as young people, we have to learn to lead ourselves first, and then society will follow. Kosi sigelela ilizwe lokho bethu. God bless the land of our ancestors. African child, our time has come. We are the leaders we have been waiting for. We are the prophets that we have been praying for and trusting God to send. I am here to remind you not of how great we were before. I'm here to invite you to come build a future that is different, brick by brick. Amanda!
Thank you so much for giving me this honor, and I just feel that as Ward 90, having listened to our candidate's speech, we have a future that we must not turn down. This young man is exceptional, and I bought a copy of the book that he gave to me in 2022. It is an extremely worthwhile book, and I do believe that in our supporting this young man, we will have a future in the city, not only in Ward 90, but in the city, because he has skills that can enlighten the city and bring it to a high level of functioning as a city in the country. So please support our candidate, Silangwe Guri Sawisa. We need to bring as much support from all the branches to get people to come and vote. We get the voters roll. We need you at the voter stations on the day. But we must make this a victory for Ward 90, and not only for the city of Johannesburg, but for everybody included.